Welcome to The Deep Dive, the podcast where we sharpen our thinking to navigate today's world of information overload, AI chaos, and hidden biases. Today's episode is all about cultivating critical thinking, the ultimate survival skill for the 21st century. As Carl Sagan once warned in The Demon-Haunted World, we've arranged a society where the critical faculties are suppressed and we don't teach people how to think. Well, today we're flipping that script. Daniel Kahneman, in Thinking Fast and Slow, showed us that our brains are wired for shortcuts, System 1 thinking, which leaves us vulnerable to misinformation and bad decisions. But here's the good news. Critical thinking is a muscle and we're going to train it together. We'll explore how to spot fake news like a detective. Hint, it's not just about fact-checking, it's about lateral reading, as Sam Weinberg's Stanford team proved. Why playing devil's advocate, a tactic championed by thinkers like Julia Galef in the Scout Mindset, can save you from echo chambers. And how intellectual humility, a term Adam Grant made famous, can help you adapt faster in a world where AI reshapes truth daily. But this isn't just theory. Later we'll dive into real-world drills, from Socratic questioning to murder mystery games that train your logic like a brain workout. Because, as Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the 21st century won't be those who can't read, but those who can't learn, unlearn, and relearn. So whether you're a student drowning in ChatGPT essays, a leader making high-stakes decisions, or just someone tired of getting duped by viral lies, this episode is your toolkit. Let's get started.
Have you ever scrolled through your news feed, maybe seen a really sensational headline and just thought, hang on, is that actually true? Or maybe you've made a quick decision, gut feeling, and then later wished you'd, thought it through a bit more?
It definitely happens. It's really tough sometimes to sort through everything that's thrown our way, especially now.
Exactly. So today we're taking a deep dive into that very challenge, our focus, critical thinking.
Right.
And this isn't just some, abstract academic idea anymore. It feels like it's becoming the essential skill for getting by in this complex, information-heavy world we live in.
Couldn't agree more.
For this deep dive, we've pulled together insights from quite a stack of comprehensive reports and guides all about critical thinking. Things like critical thinking, a comprehensive report, a complete document review, and also cultivating critical thinking, a comprehensive guide.
Good stuff there.
Yeah, really solid sources. And our mission here is basically to figure out what critical thinking really is, why it's so incredibly important right now, and maybe most importantly, how you, listening, can actually develop and use this skill in your own life. Okay, so let's try and unpack this. What exactly is critical thinking?
Well, what's really fascinating, I think, is how the core idea of critical thinking, it's kind of like having an independent mind. It's less about what you think and much more about how you think.
Okay, so the process.
Exactly. It shifts it from just being, a passive thing you have to an active disciplined process you do.
Right.
So fundamentally, it's about actively analyzing information, evaluating it, putting different pieces together, synthesizing all to guide your decisions and beliefs.
So it's the how that matters. That makes a lot of sense. And I noticed the sources, they break down that how into some really clear components, almost like giving us a toolkit.
They do. It involves things like really questioning assumptions, not just taking things at face value, but asking, okay, but is this claim really backed up by evidence? It also means recognizing our own biases. We all have them. Things like confirmation bias.
Right, where you sort of favor info that fits what you already...
Exactly. Or anchoring, where maybe the first number you hear sticks in your head and influences later judgments. It's also really about applying logic, understanding how arguments work, spotting common fallacies.
Like a straw man argument. I've heard that one.
Yeah, where you misrepresent someone's view to make it easier to knock down.
Yeah.
Or an ad hominem attacking the person, not their argument.
Gotcha.
And crucially, especially today, it means actively seeking out diverse perspectives, really trying to avoid getting stuck in an echo chamber where you only hear voices like your own.
Actively avoiding echo chambers. That feels more vital than ever. And the reports, they also highlighted some foundational tools for this. Something about System 1 and System 2 thinking.
Ah, yes, Daniel Kahneman's work. It's a really useful concept. System 1 is that quick, intuitive, almost effortless thinking. Like, 2 + 2 = 4, bam.
Right, automatic.
System 2 is the slower, more deliberate, analytical thinking. The kind you use for a complex problem, something that takes real effort, critical thinking. That heavily involves engaging system 2, taking that pause.
Makes sense. Slowing down to think properly.
Exactly. And another huge part is what's often called intellectual humility,
Okay.
which is basically the willingness to admit you might be wrong, to revise your beliefs if you get solid, credible evidence, rather than just digging your heels in.
It's not always easy.
No, it isn't. And then there's Carl Sagan's wonderful idea of a baloney detection kit.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's basically a set of mental tools to help you spot misinformation, faulty arguments, pseudoscience. Really useful stuff.
So connecting all this, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Why is this skill, critical thinking, why is it being called like an ultimate survival tool for today?
Well, if you look at the bigger picture, it really does feel indispensable now. I mean, think about the world we're in, just awash with misinformation.
Tell me about it.
Right. So critical thinking isn't just about, filtering out the occasional fake news story anymore. It's much deeper. It's about reclaiming some agency, some control, in an environment that often feels designed to just grab your attention or manipulate your beliefs.
Yeah.
The sources point out, for instance, that a pretty big chunk of people actually struggle to tell fake news from real news.
Wow, that high.
Yeah. So critical thinkers, they sort of instinctively understand, okay, I need to check the source here, or what's the potential bias in this? They actively look for that stuff.
And it's not just the quality of the info, is it? It's the sheer amount. It feels like we're just drowning sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Information overload is real. Critical thinking helps you navigate that flood. It helps you prioritize what's credible, what's worth your attention. There are even methods for it, like the SIFT approach.
Nifty.
What's
that?
It stands for Stop, Investigate the Source, Find Better Coverage, and Trace Claims back to their original context. Just a practical way to cut through the noise online.
Stop, investigate, find, trace. Okay, I like that. Practical.
And it goes beyond just information, too. Think about AI and automation.
Yeah, that's huge right now.
Hugely important. AI is amazing at processing data, finding patterns. But human judgment, especially ethical reasoning, context, nuance, that's still irreplaceable. Critical thinking is kind of the ultimate AI-proof skill, in a way.
That's a really powerful way to put it. And the sources mention wider impacts too, right? On society, personal life.
Oh, definitely. For society, critical thinking helps strengthen democracy. People who think critically are generally better equipped to resist manipulation, polarization, propaganda.
Yeah.
They engage more thoughtfully.
Less knee-jerk reactions.
Exactly. And then for your career, it's massive. The World Economic Forum consistently ranks critical thinking right up there, often as the #1 skill employers want.
Wow, #1.
Yeah. And even for your own mental well-being, it can help. Learning to critically examine negative thoughts or assumptions, challenge those internal narratives. That can actually reduce anxiety. It connects to cognitive behavioral therapy ideas.
It really touches almost every part of life then, which makes it kind of surprising. The reports also mention that it's often, sidelined in schools?
Yeah, that's a real issue they highlight. It's often not explicitly taught or integrated well into the curriculum, which is why these strong recommendations coming out now. Calls to really embed critical thinking skills across K-12 education, encourage learning that crosses different subjects because real-world problems aren't neat little boxes. And, importantly, support teachers with training and resources, like through places such as the Center for Critical Thinking.
So it's not just on us as individuals. Society needs to step up too.
Absolutely. It's a shared responsibility to cultivate a more discerning, thoughtful public.
Okay, so bringing it back to the individual listener, what does this all mean for you? How can you actually start, building this vital skill? The sources had some great practical stuff on this, right? Even some fun ways to practice.
Yes, definitely. And this brings up a key point. How do you make these practices actually stick? The reports really hammer home that critical thinking isn't some innate talent you're born with. It's a skill.
Like a muscle.
Exactly like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you use it, the more you practice consistently. So it's really about finding ways to weave these small, consistent efforts into your everyday life.
Right. So step 1 seems to be just ask more questions. Get curious.
That's fundamental. Don't just swallow claims whole, challenge them. Ask why. Why is this supposed to be true? Or even, okay, what if the opposite were true? What would that look like?
I like that what if the opposite were true prompt.
Yeah, it forces you to consider alternatives. There's also that technique, the 5 whys, often used in problem solving. Just keep asking why repeatedly to drill down to the root cause of something. Simple, but surprisingly effective.
Okay, ask questions. Then what? Evaluating sources.
Crucial. Building on that curiosity, the next step is absolutely evaluating where information comes from. Don't just read the headline. Ask yourself, okay, who's behind this claim? Who benefits if I believe this? Or is this source generally reliable? Do they have an obvious bias?
And prioritizing certain types of sources.
Generally, yes. Leaning towards things like peer-reviewed research, where possible over, say, just anecdotes or unsourced claims, gives you a much stronger foundation. It's about weighing the evidence.
Makes sense. And then there's the logic part, practicing logical reasoning.
Right. This involves learning to spot those common logical fallacies we mentioned earlier. The straw man, ad hominem, maybe things like a slippery slope argument.
Where they say one small step will inevitably lead to disaster.
Exactly. Recognizing those helps you see when an argument is weak, even if it sounds convincing on the surface. And you can actively strengthen your reasoning skills too. Things like chess, logic puzzles, even some brain training games can help build those analytical pathways.
And pausing. Reflective thinking.
Yes, so important. Just taking that beat before jumping to a conclusion, whether it's your own initial reaction or something someone else said.
How do you practice that?
Keeping a thought journal can be really helpful. Looking back at decisions or beliefs, analyzing why you thought that way, looking for potential biases, or even playing devil's advocate with your own strongly held beliefs. Deliberately argue against yourself.
Ooh, that sounds challenging but useful.
It really is. And finally, maybe the most critical today, actively seek diverse perspectives.
Get out of the bubble.
Precisely. Make a conscious effort. Don't just read things that confirm what you already believe. Go find opposing viewpoints. Engage in respectful debates. Emphasis on respectful. The goal is understanding, not just winning. It's all about fighting against those echo chambers that narrow our view so much.
Okay, those are great foundational steps. Now, you mentioned making it fun. How do you turn critical thinking into a game?
Yeah, there are actually lots of ways. For yourself, you could try apps like Lumosity. They have puzzles designed to target logic, memory, problem solving, or mind mapping. Visually connecting ideas can really clarify thinking. Even classic puzzles like Sudoku or crosswords exercise those analytical muscles.
Right, keeping the brain active. What about for groups? Teams at work, maybe?
Oh, great options there. Escape room challenges are fantastic.
Really? How so?
They force collaboration, quick thinking under pressure, connecting disparate clues, classic critical thinking in action. Debate clubs are obviously great for structuring arguments and using evidence. Even things like murder mystery games sharpen analytical skills, forcing you to sift through info and spot inconsistencies.
Huh. Okay, I can see that. What about for kids? How do you get them started young?
Simple things work well. I spy, but with a twist. Maybe adding rules about categories or functions forces them to think more deeply. Storytelling chains, where each person adds a sentence, teach cause and effect. Even designing and navigating obstacle courses involves planning, sequencing, problem solving.
That's clever, embedding it in play.
Exactly. And for adults or workplaces, worst-case scenario drills can be really productive. Get a team to brainstorm potential problems and solutions. Socratic questioning is powerful too. Just keep asking why about a process or decision to uncover assumptions. Or a simple exercise, take some news headlines and sort them into fact versus opinion. Sharpens that distinction.
Fact versus opinion. Yeah, that line gets blurry.
It really does. And there are also some cool gamified learning tools popping up. The Brilliant app has interactive STEM problems. There are podcasts focused on problem-solving stories, like Sugar. And platforms like Dreamify let you create custom critical thinking quizzes. Lots of options.
Yeah, okay. So it doesn't have to be dry and academic. There are active ways to build this skill.
Definitely not. It's about practice, and practice can be engaging.
All right, so for listeners who really want to, go deeper, maybe curl up with a good book on this, the sources provided a pretty amazing reading list, like a starter kit for a critical thinking library.
Yeah, some really excellent recommendations in there. For foundational reads, you almost have to start with Daniel Kahneman's Thinking, Fast and Slow.
The System 1, System 2 guy.
That's the one. It's just brilliant on cognitive biases, how our minds actually work, often in ways we don't expect. Then there's Carl Sagan's The Demon-Haunted World.
Baloney detection kit.
Exactly. It's a classic defense of science and skepticism, teaching you how to think critically about extraordinary claims. And for a more structured academic approach, Critical Thinking by Paul and Elder lays out a really robust framework.
Okay, foundational. What about focusing specifically on those biases in decision-making?
Good area. Rolf Dobelli's The Art of Thinking, clearly, is great for it's like a field guide to 99 common thinking errors.
Yeah.
Very practical. Dan O'Reilly's Predictably Irrational is fascinating on why we make the choices we do, often against our own best interests.
Uh-huh.
And a really interesting one is The Intelligence Trap by David Robson. It look at why being smart doesn't automatically mean you think, well, how intelligent people can actually be more susceptible to certain kinds of errors.
Ooh, intriguing. What about practical application, books that help you do it?
All right, The Seven C's by M.H. Harvey is quite current, integrating critical thinking with other key skills like creativity and collaboration. James Clear's Atomic Habits, while not strictly about critical thinking, is amazing for building the consistent systems and habits needed to think more clearly and reduce decision fatigue.
Ah, building the infrastructure for better thinking.
Exactly. Anthony Weston's Rulebook for Arguments is a super concise, useful guide to constructing logical arguments. And for tackling misinformation head-on, Calling Bullshit by Bergstrom and West is fantastic, very relevant for navigating today's data-drenched world.
Calling bullshit, straight to the point.
Yep. And for maybe students or anyone just starting out, How to Read a Book by Adler and Van Doren sounds basic, but it teaches incredibly valuable techniques for analytical reading, really digging into a text. And Adam Grant's Think, again, is excellent on that idea of intellectual humility, being willing to rethink what you think you know.
Rethinking, unlearning.
Exactly. And finally, maybe for more emerging trends or advanced stuff, Alex Edmond's May Contain Lies came out recently, looking specifically at misinformation in studies, finance, media. Very timely. Super Forecasting by Tetlock and Gardner is mind-blowing about how some people get incredibly good at predicting future events and what we can learn from them.
Improving our own judgment.
Precisely. And Julia Galef's The Scout Mindset offers this powerful contrast. Are you trying to defend your existing beliefs like a soldier, or are you trying to see reality clearly like a scout? Really makes you think about your own motivations.
Scout mindset versus soldier mindset. I like that framework. Wow, that's quite a library to build. What an incredible range of insights and practical tools. This deep dive has really underscored for me that critical thinking, it isn't just important, it's a genuinely learnable skill.
Absolutely. Requires practice, like any skill.
And that tackling our own biases, that intellectual humility piece, is just fundamental. We have to be willing to look at our own thinking critically.
Self-awareness is key.
And also that wider point about education needing to step up to really embed this from a young age.
Definitely a systemic need there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, critical thinking isn't just about what you know, it's about how you know it, and importantly, how you apply that knowledge to make sense of and navigate this really complex world we're in.
Well said. And that actually leads perfectly into a final thought we wanted to leave everyone with today, something to kind of mull over. It's a quote often attributed to Alvin Toffler. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Powerful.
Isn't it? So we need to consider, how does that apply to your own learning journey? What might you need to unlearn or relearn? Definitely something to think about. Until next time, keep thinking critically.
And that brings us to the end of today's deep dive into critical thinking, your ultimate toolkit for cutting through the noise of the digital age. We've covered everything from spotting misinformation like a pro to training your brain with logic games and Socratic questioning. Remember, as Carl Sagan once said, it's far better to grasp the universe as it really is than to persist in delusion, however satisfying and reassuring. Critical thinking isn't just about being right. It's about staying curious, adaptable, and always willing to question your own assumptions. If you're eager to put these ideas into practice, check out the resources we mentioned today, like Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, The Scout Mindset by Julia Galef, or even brain training apps like Lumosity. You'll find links to all of them in the episode description below. And if today's episode sparked any aha moments for you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts with us on YouTube here and give us a like and share this with your friends. It helps more people discover the show. Thanks for joining me on this journey to sharper thinking. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, the greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, but the illusion of knowledge. This is Brian Mansfield signing off. Keep thinking critically.